Hi, I'm Tim. I'm currently just finished my second year at Cambridge University studying engineering. I've got a background of basically general engineering for the last 2 years, but increasingly getting interested in software engineering and information engineering, which is what I'm hoping to specialise into over the next 2 years.
What type of projects have you been involved in?
So I've been involved in quite a few projects. Firstly, the prawn deshelling projects. So we want to be able to, on an industrial scale, remove all the shells for a load of prawns that come in. Also looking at generalized book barcode scanning for reselling of secondhand books. And also some more hardware sides. So how can we remotely back up all the customer PCs and keep track of all that? And also how to optimize our neural network training pipeline. And finally, almost my favorite project I'm talking about more in a sec is making a demo, a random block picking demo, which is really, really cool.
What new skills have you learned during your time here?
I think the biggest new skill I've learned while I've been here at Scorpion Vision is everything around the training of neural network models. We use these in a lot of cases because they're really invariant to lots of environmental changes. And so I've been learning about how the whole pipeline works, from collecting the images to either annotating them, splitting them up into test, validation and training sets, and I'm making them in a state where you're likely to be able to get good results out of a neural network. But also more than just that, it's really important in an industrial setting to be able to evaluate whether the models you train really are better than the ones you've had before. Because we're talking about scales of, let's say, millions of prawns going through every month. So we need to make sure that these models work almost every time on a huge scale, because even just 1% decrease in the model performance, which is very possible just random fluctuations, even just 1% decrease in efficiency will cause huge changes to how the customer views our system. So learning about how to make a really robust system in robust neural networks has been the biggest thing I've learned over the last 6 weeks.
How was your experience on your first industrial site visit?
Yeah, felt really lucky that I was able to go to a site visit during my time here. So I went up to one of the big second-hand book resellers who have a huge warehouse up near Coventry, which was really, really cool to be able to go in and see. So the scale of this place was phenomenal, and it's when you realise why our systems have to be so robust here at Scorpion Vision is because you're dealing with such huge volumes that you really care about those tiny percentages, because just if a system doesn't quite work that tiny little bit, it's going to cause huge impacts down the line. Yeah, the scale of this place. I mean, the library was literally, I reckon, about five football pitches, I reckon, over the entire site, which I think is really quite cool.
What were some of the most significant challenges you encountered during your placement?
I think the most significant challenges, which are also the most fun, were around making this a robot demo of random block picking, because we had a robot that's it's not made anymore. There's not a huge amount of documentation. So trying to learn how to make that work without a huge amount of resources took a lot of trial and error, but it was really fun and rewarding when it did work. And similarly, we also used a MechMind camera, which until this week, we didn't have a huge amount of office expertise. So this meant there was a lot of also reading through all the documentation and a bit of trial and error to make it work, which I found really, really fun, but was a challenge, a bit daunting to start off with. And you look at this and think, I know exactly what I want this camera to be able to do for me, but I have no idea where to start.
Has your time at Scorpion Vision Limited influenced what you want to do in the future?
There's been lots of influences by time here. First of all, it's affirmed my module choices for the next 2 years of university. Like, I was slightly on the fence about, do I really have to be going into information engineering? And I can definitely say that I'm really, really excited to learn lots more about the ins and the outs of training neural networks and making them efficient to lots of different scenarios. So on that front, it really has been super, super useful. But also looking a bit more to the future, I think I can see myself working in a setting similar to this, where You're in amongst a really good team of coders trying to solve what I would call to be really cool problems, because they're very large and they seem really daunting at the start. But when you break them down to lots of small segments, they can get really, really interesting. And that's something I really appreciate.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, 5 years in the future, I'm going to finish my degree, hopefully with a master's in information engineering. So hopefully working in some sort of setting that's similar to this, in ways that I really want to be utilizing computing power to efficiently solve huge, varied problems. I think that's what I'm really passionate about, and I'm looking forward to trying to find the new challenge and to find a way to solve it.
Based on your experience, what advice would you give to future interns joining our company?
Well, go for it. I've had a really, really good time here in my placement, but definitely make sure to ask questions. I think one of the first things Will said to me in the first week was, you make sure you get out of this what you want to get out of it. So ask the questions, make sure it's known what you want to do. So I was able to really get involved with a lot of this machine learning pipelining, which is something that I really want to learn about a lot more about. I actually sat down with Tim, who's actually doing a part-time master's on exactly this stuff, efficient training of neural networks at the moment. I sat down with him, we went through a couple of bits about how the ins and the outs work. So I think the key bit is there is so much knowledge here at Scorpion Vision, and make the most of it. Make sure it's tailored to your experience.